How are you, my man?
Oh, market's actually going down a little bit. Holy cow.
Well, Trump said, hello, Will. Trump said something.
Yeah.
He
Well, I mean,
probably,
I kind of came into the market this morning expecting it to be down because China banned NVIDIA GPUs from their country basically yesterday or overnight and said they were going to double the export restrictions on rare earth metals. And you didn't think Trump would retaliate? I mean, come on now.
it's a war of words.
So,
But yeah, also, China's going to dump cheap goods on the rest of the world like never before. That'll be good for our K-Web trade.
yeah, we'll see. Maybe, maybe not. They may be able to dump it. They may not. It's hard to tell what's going to actually happen. But you
Yeah.
know,
I think China's going to take their vengeance out on the rest of the world and dump what they would have dumped here on everybody else. But they're going to ramp up production, I bet.
it's kind of funny how this came right down to my support for the hourly, and now we're kind of hanging out here for the candle flip. If we continue on down, it'll go up. Just pop up time frame. It's just taken back a few days. I mean, we were just here, what, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah. The other thing is weird is that, this being a Friday and he's ramping up the war of words, anything, the news flow theory says it'll get worse Saturday and Sunday. And then who wants to be long Monday when you don't know what these guys are going to say for 2 days?
Yeah.
That's the Friday factor. But
So,
it in the all that noise, I think the UAE said they were going to buy NVIDIA chips, and NVIDIA went on to make a new high yesterday and made another new high today, all-time high.
yeah. And it's kind of funny how this happens, like all this, everything was hunky dory. Then, oh my gosh, that's the biggest red candle we've had in, golly, a long time.
Healthy. It's healthy. You made a comment to me yesterday that when we see a correction here, it's going to make Liberation Day look like a blip.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't had any pullback. Like usually we get two on average for the last 150 years, whatever. On average, we get 2% pullbacks a year. We get 5% pullback a year. We get 10% pullback every 5 to 6 years. And we get you know, big mama every 20 to 30 years. I
I'm
mean,
a big mama.
I'm ready for a big mama.
I had, yeah, I'm ready for a big mama. We could use it,
Yeah, absolutely. We could use it.
but this
Ah,
down day here, it just sets up a move higher, right? If you look at all your purple lines, this is just kind of
yeah.
in
I mean,
the
these are all support zones that we've pulled back and tested, and we've got another one sitting right there, and we may pull back and test it. And we did the same right over here. I mean, we did the same back over here.
now. I like a down day like this if I got, and I normally do have enough dry powder to take advantage of it. So I was doing some buying here before the show started. Uh,
Awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, I was
and
doing a little bit of selling some puts.
there you go. Yeah, anytime, like I think we said, but I like to reinforce the tips is that anytime you get a down day like this and you get an individual stock that's down like this, it's a great time to sell a naked put. Same thing when you get an abnormally run up high, that's a great time to sell a covered call. Is if you're looking for a timing to a strategy today, these are great days for naked puts.
I guess before we talk too much trade stuff, all trading involves a substantial risk of loss. If you put money in the market, you might lose it. Past performance, not necessarily indicative of future results. Jack and I have no crystal balls, no magic wands. We just a couple dudes putting money in the market and get lucky making some money. And this presentation intended to be informational, educational, fun, hopefully entertaining. And it's not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instrument, including stocks, options, bonds, forex, futures, cryptos, anything out there. You might lose money when you trade it. And if you need somebody to tell you what buttons to push, hire and consult a financial advisor. Although maybe you just want to talk to Chat GPT. I don't know. Does
Yeah.
better than financial advisors half the time.
I don't think we should have that line on there. We got to talk to the legal department because I think most of them are terrible. You know,
Though, I probably, another story I have is my mom's parents, my mom's dad was a great All-American, went to West Point, graduated West Point, started the Air Force when the Air Force started, three-war veteran, retired a colonel from the Air Force, and worked his butt off doing other things after he got out of the Air Force and left his kids a nice seven-figure chunk. My mom, being one of five kids left, inherited a nice six-figure chunk of that money and went and talked to a financial advisor who promptly cashed her out of half of it. It was all invested in stocks when she got it. Cashed her out in half of it, which immediately put her into a tax burden because, cashed out the gains. But he took that money and promptly invested it into a Ponzi scheme and lost it all for her. And I just I have little faith in financial advisors.
yeah. What's ironic is I know so many of them. I don't want to name the guy, but there's a guy in Naples that has 35 guys working for him. He's got one of the largest money management firms in South Florida. And, for those guys, it's all 100% about keeping 2% per year on all the money.
Yeah.
That's, and so they'll buy, you know, a lot of stuff and just let it rock and roll up. But then one of the funniest stories came from another, that's all the guy wants is the fees. They don't care about the performance. They just want the fee. So if they put you into stuff that doesn't go down, you don't make any money, but they still get, a nice bunch of fees. And then there was another guy who this was kind of funny. He was at lunch with another guy, no, and he goes, this is last year. He says, this NVIDIA is killing me. It's just killing me. And the guy says, why? Well, the other guy says, why is it killing you? It's going up every day. And the other money manager goes, no, this is really killing me. He goes, well, how's it killing you? He goes, because I don't have any. And we get about 17 calls a day from our clients that just want to make sure that we got them some NVIDIA because it's all over the news and everything. And he says, no, and I got to tell him, no, we don't have it. And I don't want to go out here and buy it at 127, right? All true. And he still didn't get fired. I'm telling you,
Hey.
people, my only point is not that I don't like them. They're good dudes, but it's a bad business and you can do better. That's my whole point.
Yeah, active. Nobody's looking out for number one, like number one. Just think about that for a minute. Nobody's watching out for you and your money better than you can. If
Yeah.
you if you think somebody else will, I guarantee you, all they're really truly interested in, more than likely, is making some of your money into some of their money.
Yep.
Um,
I
and
always said it when I came back from trading in Wall Street that nobody on Wall Street cares about how much money you make. They only care about how much money they make.
yeah, and
That's
how
it.
how much of your money they can make into their money. That's I mean, that's the first rule in life, basically. Nobody's gonna watch out for you and your money more than you are. Certainly not the government. A lot of people, you listen to the news, you listen to stories. It's like people expect the government to take care of them. Like that's
Crazy.
a giant fallacy. Like, I mean, if you're not looking out for you, then nobody else certainly is.
But that's why you're on here with us today and every day, hopefully, is to learn how to get better and make money and get the money you deserve. And Dennis, there's a
Absolutely.
video on that question inside the members area. You can watch me actually do that specific trade and then go ahead and put in the exit. I do it live for you. So we'll watch that in the members area.
Whew. Just watching these numbers go, it's crazy.
Let's take a look at NVIDIA. I
Yeah.
got a trade expiring today. I'm short the 177.50 put, long the
Oh,
175 put.
Looks like that's not gonna even be a problem.
What?
You're way down here.
Raining today, so I'm going to be in the cabin. It's only 400 square feet, so I'm going to turn on the furnace and trade a few stocks and not go out so much. It's dark, but I wanted to have a little action, and Nvidia's holding up. How low did it go today?
We're just, it's basically right at the lows, right around 188.
Yeah. What was the high today? Did it hit 195?
It looks like it. Let's see. Got to turn off my drawing tool here. Let's see what that high was. High of the day. Yeah, 195.25. No,
Good,
195.62. Yeah,
good.
195.
Well, look how that happens, though. Like China, they can't sell chips in China, and then Arabs say you can sell chips over here. So it's like one thing offsets another thing.
Yeah. I don't know. Keep going higher.
Take a look at ANET. I bought some more of that today.
All right.
I've already been long it. This is my third, but that's getting a little bougie.
That thing was grinding down here and we popped up.
I know. A gap had a little gap and filled in that gap and then gapped the other way. That's my only concern.
Yeah, on the daily chart, this thing is pretty lofty, as you would say.
Yeah. Yeah, that other gap there hasn't been filled in at the 20s. Yeah.
And we've got that high, this low. And we're up here at the.
It
I
shook a
wouldn't.
lot
I
of people.
wouldn't expect much more than 165 right now.
I got calls sold up there, so I don't want to get called out. But I've been loving this thing. It got a little too hot. If you look at the angle pre-liberation day and you look at the angle post-liberation day, yeah, it's too yeah. And then you go down, no, go down to that bottom. Like
Yeah, I was just yeah. If you just went down here, like
that's what it should do. But look what it really did though, from that low circle, like straight up, right?
yeah, we're kind of though back. Just we're trying to get back to the where we were though,
Yeah,
which stocks don't usually do that. It's like you said, they usually jump down and then stay parallel to where they were, not take these dips and come back up and then
yeah. This got a great story behind it. What's the market cap? This could
let's
be
see.
bought out. I'm surprised there's not more acquisitions going on. Even though valuations are high, uh, some of these components are needed to get bigger. Now that's tiny.
Yeah, tiny. I mean, you think about that. That's like $8 on NVIDIA. It's crazy.
Easy, man.
It's not even $10 on NVIDIA.
Oh, some of these little companies that provide more of the glue, as I call it, routers and switches. I'm not pretending to be an expert. I don't know anything about a router or a switch. I just know that some of these overlooked components that are not chips are very important to the whole thing. Getting the chips to talk, stuff like that. And these guys have a nice network going.
Does everybody understand how $150 here is cheap compared to $180, $190 on NVIDIA? Does anybody understand what I say when this one, when we talk about this stock is low priced compared to NVIDIA? Anybody not understand that? It has to do with market cap and how many shares are available. A lot of people don't necessarily understand when you come in here and you look at how many shares there are and the price, right? There's 1.26 billion shares, and we have the price that's currently, hanging out right here at 157. So that multiplied together gets you the $197 billion. Right? That's
Which
how
is
big
relatively small, just so you know, people.
that's how big the company is. $197 billion. For you with $20 in your pocket, 197 billion, that seems like a lot. For Nvidia, right here, and we look at the same kind of metrics, they have 24.3 billion shares at their $190 price. Well, that gets you $4.6 trillion.
Which is a hard thing to hold up. That's weaving. That is lofty.
That's a big number compared to 200, less than 200 billion, right? I mean, think about that. That's 20, almost 25 times bigger. It's 24 times, 23 times bigger. That's just crazy, crazy numbers. So the number of shares is what really matters. Now, when I talk about $8 move on NVIDIA, it's because $24.3 billion
Shares.
every time. No, it's every time NVIDIA moves a dollar, that's $24.3 billion into or out of the market.
Yeah.
If it just moved $3, $2.50. That's almost $75 billion.
I could just laugh. That's all.
75 billion. I mean, that's like, think about that compared to the $200 billion we were just talking about on ANET.
Yeah. That's 1 hour, 2 hour move in
Right?
capitalization, which is why I say they could easily buy a company like that that would fit in a hole that they have somewhere. If there is a hole, they got it pretty tight wrapped up.
So ANET moving a dollar, that's only $1 billion.
That's nothing.
That's
And it's
one,
already cheap.
$1 move is $1 billion of money moving into or out of the market on ANET. And you can go all over the internet, all over the stock market and find, how much money it takes to move the stock a dollar. And this is, you can compare companies this way. And a lot of people don't think about it. They think about, $100 stock is $100 stock, and what's the difference? Well, this is what the difference is. It's how many shares are available and how much money it takes to move that stock.
How much effort? Yep, exactly.
So that's why Jack and I usually look at things that aren't sitting in the top 5 or 10 when we're trying to trade them. These ones up
Although
here,
full
quite
disclosure,
lofty.
full disclosure, NVIDIA is my biggest position. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know what to say. It's huge. 7,000 shares. I'll just say it. I'm selling calls against it. My cost is double digit.
I know you've got some Microsoft too.
Yeah, I got some Microsoft and I got a little bit of Alphabet. Just 100 shares of that. Nothing like the 7,000 in NVIDIA. And gonna gonna get close to two over 1,500 shares in AVGO. That's been a massive cash machine for covered calls.
Well, see, what's funny is when you just get down here to number 12, for this one to double, it only takes $1.5 trillion, and then it doesn't even put it in the top 4.
I know. You talk about glue. I mean, wow. AVGO Broadcom, that's AI glue, right? It ain't just chips. As people get a misunderstanding of the ecosystem. And again, I'm not an expert on any of it, but there's a lot of components that go into the AI to make the chip work, right?
Yep. Look at that baby holding up so far.
Yeah, wow.
MU, this one's underlooked, I feel like. I called for a 200 price target for, gosh, since back here in May, and we got right to it and stopped. Funny enough. And I got a nice piece of that trading MUU. I didn't know how long the time frame was going to take on this at all, but I grabbed MUU back here when it did the breakouts
Nice.
and cashed it out right up here.
Nice trade. Really nice trade. So you weren't using any kind of stops. What gave you the conviction to sell?
Uh, because we hit my target on MU. Like I was looking for the 200 target right there for, gosh, however many, May, June, July, August, September, we just got there. So I was, for 4 months, I kind of sat in that, expecting it to pop, and we got right to it. So I tend to get my piece and get out and move on to the next opportunity.
I do
So
too. That's a funny thing you say that. Like I do that with all but these three. NVIDIA, like I say, when it came time, I went all in on that thing and been holding it. But normally I'm doing what you're doing right here with a directional trade. But
You
I
know,
got to follow.
NVIDIA, let me put that back. NVIDIA, I was in right here. Maybe get my drawing tool. I was in right here,
Okay.
NVIDIA. Same pattern if you look at it, that same pattern. And I got out, and I've not looked back, actually. I got out when we popped and consolidated right here. When you look at that move, that was a one heck of a move right there.
It's amazing.
And I haven't really, like, I haven't cared. Like, I'm going to wait for another pullback because it does these 70% pullbacks over and over. And I didn't want to risk one by holding on to it. We've done it there. We did it, 60, 70% pullbacks. Did one there, did one here, 80%, did one here, 90%. Every few years, this thing does a giant freaking pullback. Probably going to do another one.
Yep. It's hard to hang on to it when it's done that. I've been through a ton of them, but you
So
just got to tune out the noise.
they'll probably do another one, and we'll see. But right now, we've got upside to go. At target, sitting right up here around 212, 213. That's where it's probably heading for.
What's the short interest on this?
It has very little short interest.
I would imagine
Let me,
very upside. You want these short guys, they go after stuff that they think is just complete junk, like that firm Muddy Waters, and a couple of others. They just try to find something in the accounting that doesn't add up. Then they short it. Then they tell the public they shorted it. They get the public to, help them with their short.
yeah, Jack, I'm going to have to go here in a few minutes and go visit Roger's show, and I'll be back. But we're going to
I,
talk about my all new program we're going to launch this weekend.
yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
NVIDIA, pull this up. Look at the shorts.
Yeah, and then if you let me share the screen before you go.
Oh, of course. Yeah, here's the shorts. It's 1% shorts.
It's not enough.
It's like $44 billion, but that's like less than a $2 move on NVIDIA. So
I'd like to see a short interest, double digits, 20% or more. That really going to find something, but they could be right when it's that heavy. But this is not enough to cause a short squeeze.
yeah, not even it's not even really just anything really. Let's see, short interest overview. That's not what I wanted. Let's see, short extremes. See if it'll pull it up. Let's see, short free floats. This is where you can find stuff like that. And yeah, some of these are just gonna be absolute garbage companies. Newegg, yeah, that one's been crazy.
Piece of junk.
And you can see these like 100%. Some of the, 700%. So think about that. That's a short squeeze candidate right there with 700% of the stock shorted. That means people have borrowed it and shorted it and borrowed it again 7 times over.
Wow.
I've always short that. That just seems like it'd be dangerous right there.
So overdone.
Right here. And it dropped like pretty, that's a pretty good sized drop right there. 77% drop. But it can shoot off higher again and rip all those shorts.
Yeah, force them to buy back.
And with the with that with that kind of 700% short, yeah, got to be careful. All right.
Couple of questions on what I did with NVIDIA. I did not buy NVIDIA when it was at 90. I was during the tariffs. I gave up a ton of profit. My cost on a lot of it is around 51. In another account, it's at 62. So even if it goes from whatever to 90, I'm not going to panic over it. Um, I didn't do anything. I didn't buy during the tariffs. What I did buy during the tariffs was stuff that I thought they threw the baby out with the bathwater that had nothing to do with the tariff. I bought some more of my uh, dividend stuff and a little bit of tech stuff during the tariffs, but not NVIDIA. And I've never averaged down on any stock. That's not good. I average up all the time, but I never average down. A funny story about that in the brokerage business. There was one guy that was a great salesman, but a stockbroker, but a terrible stock picker. And he was kind of gutsy in that he would call the client even when they were down big on a position, and it was kind of like all his fault. So he'd say, "Hey, it's time to average down," and the client would say, "Well, what's that?" And he says, "Well, we will buy more," and the client would say, "I don't want to buy more," and he would say, "Well, if you liked it at 50, you got to love it at 25,
Yeah.
right?" And and that's just throwing good money after bad. I never ever average down, but I average up all the time. Like ANET, I'm buying more today, and I'm raising my average cost. But I let the thing make a big move before I start buying. So, like, I'm building a position in Circle, stuff like that. I'm gonna buy a little, maybe 100 or whatever, let it move up big. So, I can afford to buy more and raise my average cost. And my average cost, even though I bought averaged up, is still below the market price.
And what's interesting, I go pull in the pre-market gainers and decliners, and a lot of the gainers are still holding up in the green. There's a few that have gotten hit, but for the most part, the gainers are still green and the decliners are
Yeah,
getting to be pretty red.
yeah, yeah.
It's just
Levi,
kind of funny where the strength of the day still tends to be the strength of the day.
yeah. Levi's jeans, everybody saw that one coming. Where's Levi's? I saw it on your screen.
That wasn't jeans. That's a different thing right there. Levi is, I guess it is Levi jeans right there. I got hit. Yeah, Levi's.
The tariffs on jeans. They make all those jeans in Vietnam.
So getting hit a little bit. Jack, I'm going to have to step out for a minute and
All right,
come
let
back.
me share the screen. I gotta want to show them something.
I'll be right back here, probably 15 minutes. Enjoy it, everybody. I'll be back.
I'll babysit the crowd while you're gone. All right. So, all right. Can everybody see my most anticipated earnings releases? Yes, good. Fastenal, Monday before the open, they're going to announce earnings. I don't know nothing about that one. I'm long BlackRock. No matter what the earnings come out to be, I'm not going to sell the stock. I expect good news on BlackRock just because the IBIT ETF is their most profitable ETF, and they're all about ETFs. They're breaking into the private equity market where they're going to have a hybrid ETF that's part publicly held companies and part privately held companies. Highly dangerous. I wouldn't recommend anybody get in on one of those, but they're going to launch all kind of ETFs. I think the fees will be going higher. Goldman, Citigroup, Wells Fargo, all that banking stuff, JP Morgan. Then we got, I'm long JP Morgan, just so you know. Johnson & Johnson coming up. I'm long Johnson & Johnson. I have no idea what their earnings will be, but regardless, I'm reinvesting in the stock for the long term. I'll never sell it. ASML Wednesday is going to be a really interesting story. They had fabrication down pat, and a lot of it's gotten away from them. We'll see what happens. That's going to be a volatile situation. Progressive, probably good. Dollar Tree should be good. Bank of America, don't know. Morgan Stanley has moved into asset management. heavily. They want to do wealth management for their, and they only want the high end client. Then you got Citizens Bank, a couple other banks. Abbott Labs would be interesting. United is always interesting. That's an economic indicator, people think. So we'll see how that goes. And our banks will be a little bit boring. TSMC on Thursday, that'll be really great to have happen. Schwab, kind of see what they got going on. Interactive Brokers is really more innovative and progressive than Schwab. They're really going hard. I wouldn't expect, I would expect that stock to make a long-term move higher. Then just more banks, Ally, American Express coming out, Regions, and that's it. That's it for earnings. All next week, but it's starting back up. Those are just the most anticipated. All right. I'm going to look at some naked put yields. Because when a market's down like this, I think it's going to pop back. So I like to look for some naked puts. But before I do a naked put, I got to have the calculator up to see what it is that my potential ROI is going to be. All right, so here I got a little premium income calculator. And let's see if I can get all right, so I want to take a look at doing a naked put on IBIT again. I have a 63 strike price put naked, and I'm not going to get the stock. We're at 67.44. It's down 1.69%. And like I say, when a stock is down and the market's down, that's not a bad time. That's probably the optimum time to do a naked put. Conversely, when the stock is up, that's a great time to sell a covered call. So here's the calls. I'm going to drop down to the puts. And before I do that, I'm going to set my expiration. I only want to look at these options to go out about a month. So I'm going to go with the 11/14 weekly. And this will say near the money. You can look at all of them if you want. I'm just going to look at near the money here on the puts. So with the stock at 67 and change, if I went in here for the and sold the 65 put for 222, stock's at 60, 743, and I'm looking to sell the 65 put naked that expires 11/14. 65, the midpoint is 230. So then I'm going to go over here to my calculator. Can everybody see the calculator now? Here, so I'm going to type in the stock price, 67.43. I'm going to get 230 if I sell the 65 strike put. And the strike price we say is 65. And so we see I'm going to do this on margin, which you could do it cash secured is good too. On margin, I'm putting 20% down. That's going to be 1349. Out of the money by 243. The margin required is 1335.60. That's it. $1,335. So that's what makes the yield so high on the naked put, is because you have very little skin in the game when you do it on margin. And I know it's strange because when you go to buy a stock, you need at least 50% down to buy the stock. But here, when you do a naked put, you could do it for just 20% down, minus the amount out of the money, plus the premium, so forth and so on. But the margin here at just 1335 and 60 cents, and you're getting $230 credited to your account instantly. So that's a 17.2% yield for about a month. If you do that, 10 times, you're at 170% return for the year. Now, let's go back and look at that. Take a look at the chart here. I still think IBIT is going higher. I'm still long 3,000 something shares. I would take in some more here if I could sell the calls against it. So just when I look at the chart, we're still in a decent trend. And all we have right now is this IBIT coming back down, looking to hit this short-term trend point and then bounce higher. So whenever you want to just have your chart set up, I like to look at a 6-month chart, and I like to use 3 indicators. You can use simple moving averages or exponential moving averages or whatever you like. I'm using a 23-day short-term EMA here, exponential moving average, and I'm using a 54-day intermediate term, 54-day exponential moving average to show me that intermediate term. And then I'm using a long-term trend indicator, which is the 204-day. That's the one in red. Now, if you look at the price of the stock, you see the volatility. If you look at the movement of the lines, you see less volatility, and especially with this long-term trend point, that's just pointing up. So you're going to get this kind of normal stuff going on. But as long as these trend points are moving higher and the overall range of the stock is trending higher, then we still have a bullish trend. So that's it. Means I'm going to take a shot at picking up, having some of this stock gifted to me at 65, and in which case I'll turn right around and start selling covered calls. That's the wheel. The expiration date, I'm going out to 11/14, Matt. Pete, is Monday a good time to sell puts? I don't think it's a day of the week with selling. There's a one day better than another day to sell puts, unless that day happens to be a down day on a stock that's trending higher. So that's the thing. not just the market is in an uptrend and it's got one down day, that's great. It's still in an uptrend, right? It's kind of like buy the dip. Same thing with selling naked puts. If you got a down day on a stock that's trending higher, that's an optimal time to sell that naked put because the premium will be super high and it will be within the context of its range. So that's how I like it. Now, if you're just doing a directional trade, you could pick a support level in there and say, hey, if it gets down to 65 without doing a naked put, I'm just going to go long the stock, and maybe even sell a call against that. And that's going to be uh, an ideal situation. I want to take a look at how NVIDIA looks again. I've got a credit spread expiring today. Yeah, that's money. That IBIT naked put is good money. So when I look at NVIDIA in my setup here, um, one of the things you'll notice is if you're using 3 trend points or just 3 trend indicators, is if you ever see a stock that has a crossover, like back here, the trend points are inverted. They're just the opposite of what they should be. So you've got the long-term trend point on the top. That's going to serve as a huge point of resistance. And you've got the intermediate term trend point below that. And it did serve as resistance. And then you got the short-term trend point down here, and that also served as a point of resistance. But once you get this crossover here, like right there, that is one of the most viable signals I've ever seen in my life. And so I look for that. And whenever I see it, I know it's game on, which is what happened when this trend turned around. It can be ugly when you're in a high flying stock and then it gets killed for a while. Anyway, yeah, it looks brutal. It looks like you're wrong, but you stay in it. It was trending. It turned around. We had the technical crossover, and then it's been ripping since then.
Hey, Jack, I'm back.
All right, how'd it go over there with Roger? Did you ask him why he went long NVIDIA?
No. I was there to tease this big world premiere we're doing on Sunday,
Yeah,
and that he was asking me all the questions. I couldn't hardly get a just for answering the questions. I couldn't get any questioning otherwise. So,
yeah.
um,
He should have asked him about NVIDIA. He wasn't he was right when he said it was going to 120 or 110 when last time I talked to him, it did go down. And I didn't think he was all for it at 110 or 120. I'm surprised he's buying it now. I'd love to know his rationale.
hey, maybe he likes the ban from China. I don't know.
He's
He was,
already out. I
yeah,
guess he
in
was
and
five minutes.
day trades, shorter term opportunities.
Yeah, short-term opportunities, if you don't have one, a strategy for that, you need one. And that's the thing I love about what you got coming up is that I don't have anything in my arsenal strategy-wise that takes advantage of a short-term one-day move. And I think everybody needs to, if you don't have one, there's a lot of gold in that trade. You really need to have that. You want to talk a little bit about why you didn't do a 0 days to expiration strategy?
Why didn't? Well, I have one already, and there's just a variety of people that think it's too fast.
I agree.
Um, you
I
know,
hear that all the time. But is it
zero
true?
days give you very little room to be right or wrong. You're either right or you're gonna be you're gonna be taught how wrong you are pretty quickly. And you know, some people just don't like that gotta watch every moment of the market kind of price action. So I slowed it down a little bit with this new strategy that we're going to release this weekend. And it just provides a little bit of opportunity to take it easy and not have to watch the chart at all. In fact, the alerts don't even put out a chart because the chart doesn't really matter. And that's kind of one of the beautiful things to me about what I built is it slows it down and increases the win rate, and you don't have to worry about it. And that kind of fits with everything we talk about here, Jack.
Exactly, which is why I love it. But that's what I wanted you to talk about. When you moved from 0 days to expiration to 1 day out, that had an effect on the win rate. Yes?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, you know, when I had the longer strike, what it was that really amped it up was the trade. Using that credit spread tactic that I've been using. I've got a 100% win rate on my green light income alerts trade. And usually I trade about 1 month out, roughly 24 to 28 days to try to capture that big IV drop, the drop in theta, the time decay, the stuff that makes you income. And, I leveraged that kind of trade and put it with my triple threat day trade, but I needed it to last just a little bit longer. So I adjusted the time span just a little bit to go 1 day out. And that seemed to be kind of a sweet spot for a frequent trade that wins a lot and using that tactic that helps the win rate boost. I mean, it's just like I pulled together all these pieces to really, really create something special for everybody.
Yeah, you sure have. I can't wait to see it. I'm more excited to use it too. I got a little bit more information about it this morning before you and I had a chance to get on here together. And man, I'm telling you, I'm glad it's Friday because I couldn't wait a whole nother week to on this thing. And we're going to have it on Sunday, which means, like I say, we'll be able to take our first trade on Monday. And that's going to make Monday even more, even more exciting.
Yeah, for anybody that paid attention yesterday, I actually put up one of the trades on. One of the alerts fired off while you were talking to everybody yesterday, and I actually put it on QQQ, and it cashed out at 9:32 this morning, full profit.
I
Just
love that. Now,
just
if you
worked.
get profit in that, would you just walk away and call it a day today?
No, I mean I kind of have. I've sold credit in a few other things, but as far as that trade goes, that one's done, and I was moving on to, and one fired off for Monday. But with the market pulled back, I'm not sure that you know it may not work. Of course, we could recover by Monday, and it works. So I don't know. I did put it on as soon as it fired off this morning. It is already a late trade, so um,
You don't know. I mean, Trump could right now be finishing his second Big Mac and third Coke and come out and say he talked to Z and everything's cool.
yeah, not gonna be a problem. No, no big deal.
I
Never
was
know.
telling my Washington Insider friend, I said, "Hey, I've never seen a president in my entire life that can move a market like this guy. Number one, number two, he can do it every day or twice in a day. We've never had a president like this."
And he
Oh,
knows what he's doing though. Like he loves social media. He loves media attention. He's been this kind of person. Even before he had the TV show The Apprentice, he was this kind of person. If you listen to interviews that people have done with him in the past, this is always who he's been. And he just has the ultimate spotlight right now, being the president. And I think it killed him the last 4 years when he wasn't president, that he didn't get quite the attention that he had. And
totally
so now he loves it again.
loves Yeah, so well, we'll see. I read this morning also, yesterday I read in the Wall Street Journal that the tariffs have brought in quite a bit of money, not enough to offset. They're saying that what was it, 195 billion or something? It's a lot. It's not enough to offset income tax totally, and that's what every critic says, is
Yeah.
that you got the tariffs coming in. Oh, big deal, 195 billion. Well, that is a big deal. And Trump said, "Hey, I would like to offset income tax with tariffs, but it's not there yet." But that's still a lot. 195 billion on tariffs is still a lot, and I don't know that that's really trickled down to the consumer.
No, it certainly hadn't trickled down at all, I don't think. Um, I was trying to look and see if I had a graph of what the last deficit was in the income. You know, we're still short income though. Even with that, even with the taxes we collect, and even with the tariffs, we're actually still spending more money than we're bringing in.
Yeah.
So it's still a problem until we get this under control. And that's one thing that the government shutdown is why they're fighting. That's what they're fighting about. Is we got to get the spending under control.
But they're
So
going to spend more, and the more they spend, every time they spend more money, gold just ticks up. I mean,
yeah,
it's almost tied to that right now. Like, they more money comes out, gold ticks up. We're in debt a little more, numbers come out, gold ticks up.
It
Uh,
was funny though. Gold spiked initially today on that tariff news, if that's what actually moved the market, and now it's right back down at the lows of the day. So that's kind of interesting.
what's also interesting is there hasn't been any real profit taking in gold.
Yeah, I do think that gold is due for potentially upwards of a 50% correction.
Yeah,
You can think not, but there's a lot of people sitting on a lot of profit, and that can quickly snowball
yeah.
and
And they're going to
overdo it on the downside.
decide if they want to book that profit this calendar year, by the end of this year, or if they want to carry it over, or how that's going to go. But I think you're going to see some profit. You got to have some profit taking in gold.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you 100% on that one. And Bitcoin's having a pretty rough day today.
We were just talking about, I'm looking at selling that 65 strike price put that expires November 14th. It's going for about 230. So if I
Whew.
got 65, my cost would be 60. I can't do all the math. 62,
Yeah, we
7.
may not. I don't know if we'll get back down there because that's above the kind of the breakout from the September high.
Yeah. But I would love to get a little more right there. I got to see if I'm still first going to get called out of my 70 strike price calls.
Yeah, probably not. Right now we're
So,
at 67, so
yeah, I don't think so.
we're gonna have to turn it and burn it higher again. No, looking at this, we could bottom out. Funny enough, I talked about bottoming in this area on Bitcoin itself between 117,000 and 118,000. I talked about that just yesterday. That while we're open and we're actually green on the day, I talked about how we had downside potential based on the price pattern, and here we are scraping at 118 today. It could push on down to into the 117,000 area. But that would, I guess, pulling that over to IBIT, just some people have trouble doing that kind of math. Let me run the fib line here on my screen. That puts us between 66.40 and 67.30. So we can see
Yeah.
just a little bit more weakness, but I don't really expect it to go much further than that if we're going to get further upside
Well,
in the rest of
the
October.
market a little scared today would be down and would be closed, but Bitcoin trades 24/7. So
Yeah,
snap back tonight or tomorrow is in the cards.
yeah, absolutely. We could come in on Monday and this thing be at all-time highs, 130,000, and so that's just one of those things. You gotta, if you're gonna get in, what are you waiting for?
I picked up a little VRT yesterday. They
Yeah,
were talking about VRT. Um, I didn't expect it to pop like it did this morning. I don't know, where is it now?
it's still up there at above 175.
Huge move when I looked at it before the show. I was
Yeah, yeah, it's up
everybody
four,
said,
still up 4% on the day. That's pretty
that's
wild.
too much, man. That's a big move.
Yeah,
Yes.
Jack, your
Well,
screen froze up. It looks like.
I'll let you take over.
Let's throw it
Right.
back over here. All right, there's VRT,
Yeah.
lofty stuff.
Lofty stuff.
So, Jack, you got any opportunities for anybody for for the upcoming week? You've been
We
talking
talked
about get.
about earnings. There's going to be a lot of good earnings coming out. Banks, Johnson and Johnson, ASML's reporting next week. Uh, yeah, it's going to be a good week. On Tuesday, I'll be putting on another credit spread. On Monday, I'll be looking to sell some more naked puts across the board. And that's going to be my week, Monday and Tuesday. And then if anything else comes up, I got all these options expiring, 14 options trades on the 17th. That's all I got. And then, of course, the main thing I got is I'm going to be leaning hard on your new toy.
Yeah, hopefully we get a good week next week on it. Um, launch week and all. I'd hate to have this crazy track record. In fact, let me pull up that track record while we're sitting here talking about it.
Well, you get me too jacked up when you do that. And
Look at this crazy thing. Look at this crazy thing. It's actually got the IWM trade details down here that I told you came out this morning.
oh, the win rate went up.
Yeah, it went up. We booked a whole string of winners this week.
Oh, wow. 4 grand of winners.
So
Wow, four
this,
grand?
this thing's been it's been kind of crazy here. And, well, the rate we were looking at 4 grand was to mid-September. This one's the updated live one. This one actually updates live every time the trade comes out now. That was the snapshot through September 15th we had with the 33,000. This is actually up to date to current. If you risked $1,000 on every trade, that's where you would be right now, year to date, from January 1st through today.
Nice.
And we actually cracked 90% this morning when we booked that win. So 2.36 profit factor. That means for every dollar you lose, you bring in $2.36. So that's the kind of thing you can make money on right there.
Yeah, those are great stats. I love it. And, like we were talking about, for me, I like the win rate because, even if you're got a system that's profitable 55% of the time, you could be profitable, but it's that other 45% of the time that's going to emotionally wear you out. When you have a win rate like you do here, you can live with it easily if you have a loss.
Yeah, it looks like I'm going to get put those gap shares, which no big deal to me. It's almost gifted, as you say.
When does that
This
expire?
a lot of my position expires today, so
Yeah,
come
no,
tomorrow.
watch that in the after hours gap. So if gap moves lower or higher, you might not get the stock if something happens after. I mean, what if Trump says something about tariffs? This thing will move higher. We're not taxing cotton or whatever, and gap moves and you don't get the stock. So there's no guarantees. I thought so many times I'm going to get the stock because it's at or below my strike, a couple pennies, and I didn't get it, right? Because in the after hours, if it moves higher, there won't be that assignment. Uh, yeah, so watch that. If you get it, you'll be gifted it. If you don't,
Yeah, we'll see. I just thought I'd bring that up since I've been talking about it with everybody. That I'll
yeah,
likely come in on Monday with shares in there, looking to sell upside calls.
here's something
And
everybody should know about assignment. The stock market closes at 4, but the options can be assigned up until 11:59 Saturday night. So don't be surprised if you get an email Sunday morning at 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning that assignment took place. But a lot of people don't realize. They think once the market's closed, it's over. But the CBOE, they got till 11:59 Saturday night to do any assignment.
yeah, and everybody acts like I'm the young guy trading. I've been doing this since I was in third grade when I was like 8 years old. So yeah, I got a lot of years beyond my gray hair here.
Can't remember my first trade. Silver. Yeah, when I was just a kid.
I remember what got me hooked on this whole thing. I was riding the bus with a kid from school, elementary school. I was in a small school. We only had like 2 classes per grade, and we were riding the bus home. And this kid's like, showing me candy. I was like, "Where'd you go with the candy?" He's like, "Well, my parents own. I think it was Coca-Cola. It was either Coca-Cola or Pepsi. I can't remember which one it was." He was like, They say I own it, and when it pays a dividend, they give me the dividend in cash, and I can go buy candy, or whatever it was. He was buying candy with it, and I was like, that is the coolest freaking thing. I gotta find out more about this, and I was hooked from that day forward.
Money is a crazy motivator for a kid, Same thing with my little Jack. Uh, Now, when he looks at a company, I think I told you guys, the very first thing he says when he looks at this company, he'll say, "How much does that one pay you to own it?" And that's the most beautiful way to think about it. If I'm an investor, they're gonna pay me to own part of that company and pay me a dividend out of the profit. So how much does it pay me to own it? Yeah, that's a powerful thing, man.
Yeah,
And when you're
and
a kid and you get after it, there is nothing like it.
ever since then, I've had to learn how to do it, how to make money. Getting paid out of the market, that was the thing that hooked me in the beginning. So I've had a propensity for credit trades and getting paid ever since. It just That's why I go after real estate investment trusts. That's why I know a ton about the dividend stocks. That I have my own little system for it, and you know, it just I love that kind of stuff, and I love these credit trades that I came up with because they just pay, and pay quick and high win rate. And I don't put all my money in it. I put an allocation to it, and just like Jack, you have money allocated to all sorts of different strategies because no one thing works all the time, and no one thing's the greatest all the time. So.
Now let's make sure everybody is signed up for. Is there
Yeah,
anybody that's not signed up for Sunday's event?
here's the event. Here's the registration link right here. Even if you can't make it live with us on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern, click the link and we'll get you the replay. That's it signs you up for the replay, it signs you up for the reminders, it signs you up for the live event.
The only thing about it is are they going to limit the number of people that buy it? Because it might not be available Monday.
Yeah, it's we have a large capacity for people to sign up, but if it's too hot, the team may cut it off. But I can't imagine that.
Either
I,
side.
I I think a lot of people should be there on our world premiere, but I know it is church time for some people, and signing up at the link does get you that replay just as soon as you possibly can get it.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to do that trade too. Some of these trades are not fun. They might be profitable, but they're not fun. What you got going on looks a lot of fun. You already know it's highly profitable. Those are numbers you bank, and I can't wait to make some bank with it.
Yeah, it's kind of a ridiculous trade that I figured out. It's one of those like you talk about your Tesla trade, you just can't believe how it hunts and how it works, and just keeps printing out money. That's kind of the way I feel about this one right here. These cash butt trades, it
No,
just keeps printing out money. It's just crazy.
I love it. So we'll be able to take a trade on Monday.
If one fires off, that's the goal is to. I mean, I don't force it. So if one sets up, great. If the market is just a trending day, see, it's all based on trend pullback continuation. The thing my technical pattern I show off all the time. I've just made a couple small tweaks to the bot for this particular instrument right here, or this particular system right here, and it just it just waits. It never forgets. Like if one fires off, it fires off. If it doesn't fire off, then you can see we got one yesterday, we got one today, we had two on Thursday or Wednesday, excuse me, Wednesday, one on Tuesday, one on Monday. So one on Monday, one on Tuesday, two on Wednesday, one on Thursday, and one on Friday.
Right.
So
If anybody not signed up, I just want to make sure every single person here is going to be able to be there Sunday or at least be signed up because
yeah.
we're going to want a lot of feedback from the guys and gals that attend our show. We want you guys in there first. Uh, you
And
know,
we have a special deal. I do know that there's a special pricing that's going to only last for the first day or two, and then we're
okay.
going to cut that off. So you definitely want to get in early. Watch the replay Sunday if you can't be there live, because that special pricing may end by Monday. I don't know. That's what the team told me. They had an extra special deal on there.
Oh,
So
wow. That's yeah, you're going to want to get in on have your credit card ready when you show up.
you'll still probably be able to get in through next week, but you may miss out on the bestest deal. It depends on how many people sign up the first day. So
Cool.
and take five trade. Well, you're just looking at the bottom. There's a lot more trades up here that make a lot more money. So
I
there's
don't think I don't think one trade wipes out five profits.
yeah, some of these up here, $500, $200, $300. I mean, you're just looking at the last couple in the last couple of days. It's not that's not reflective of what you got going on here. There's a lot more to it than what you see. More than meets the eye. Yeah, the link right here, pre-sign up. Yeah, there you go. Sarah threw it in the chat. I'll throw it in the chat. Click that link right there, jeffreytrader.com/CB. Sign up for the world premiere
Can't wait, but
Sunday. Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Cashbot Madness.
that's what it's going to be. All right, everybody, be there. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait to get started. And I'll see you Sunday, my man.
Yeah. Thanks for coming, Jack. Thanks for everybody. Thanks everybody for coming to Market Masters. We'll be back on Monday for another Market Masters. Enjoy the weekend.